When a crew with fake HOA cops tried to storm my ranch at 3 a.m., they thought a fake badge and a crowbar would make me fold. What they didn't know was that behind that door waited Brutus, a 90-kilo pit bull with jaws like steel and loyalty sharper than any weapon. By the time the sheriff arrived, the trespassers were crawling out on their hands and knees, begging for mercy. The first sign was the paper. Orange envelopes, bold black lettering stamped HOA Enforcement Notice. I found them tucked under my front porch mat, slid across my windshield, even pinned to my mailbox. It was laughable. I lived miles outside the suburban sprawl. My ranch wasn't part of any association, never had been. But Karen Hightower, the notorious queen bee of the HOA from across the valley, had decided my land fell under her community jurisdiction. I burned the first few notices in the fireplace. When the phone calls started, strange voices threatening compliance fees and property assessments, I hung up. But Karen wasn't bluffing. She had backup. And they came for me on a Friday night. It was 3 a.m. when the crash came. My wife jolted awake beside me, clutching the sheets. Brutus, who usually sprawls snoring in the hallway, was already on his feet. His growl rolled through the house like thunder. Then, the front door exploded inward. The frame splintered. A man in black shoved through with a flashlight and a badge flashing from his chest. Two more followed, one with a crowbar in hand. HOA Enforcement, the first one barked. Step aside or face arrest. I knew instantly the badges were fake. The way they held themselves screamed wannabe tough guys, not law. But before I could even grab the shotgun from beside my bed, Brutus launched. I'll never forget the sound. 90 kilos of pure muscle hit the first man square in the chest. His flashlight flew across the room as Brutus's jaws clamped down on his arm. The crunch echoed off the walls, followed by a scream that tore through the night. The second intruder swung his crowbar wildly. Brutus twisted, dragging the first man down, then snapped his hair toward the second. With one explosive leap, he drove the man back into the drywall, leaving a crater where his body hit. The third froze in the doorway. His fake badge glinted in the light, but his hand shook as he stared at the chaos in front of him. That's when I stepped into the hall, shotgun leveled. I said, "You broke into the wrong house," voice steady as steel. Brutus stood in front of me, teeth bared, muscle wet, growled deep enough to rattle my rib cage. "Call him off," the first man sobbed, clutching his ruined arm. "Please, call him off." I didn't lower the barrel. "You want him off? You'll be leaving him cuffs." Red and blue lights suddenly washed across the yard. Sheriff Daniels and two deputies stormed up the porch, weapons drawn. The intruders dropped instantly, terrified, hands in the air. By the time the deputies cuffed them, Brutus had padded back to my side, panting, tail wagging proudly. But as Daniels met my eyes, he didn't smile. "These weren't burglars, John. This was organized, and I don't think Karen is done with you yet." Sheriff Daniels had barely left when the threat started up again. Anonymous calls, truck engines idling outside the ranch gate at night, drones buzzing over the barn. Karen wasn't letting go. She was furious her little army had failed. And then came the SUVs. It was dusk when 3 black SUVs rolled up my dirt road. Their engines hummed low, their windows tinted dark. My gut tightened the second I saw them. Brutus felt it too. His hackles rose, ears pricked, growl already vibrating like distant thunder. The SUVs fanned out across my front pasture, cutting deep ruts into the soil. Doors opened. Men in black spilled out, more than a dozen this time, all wearing those same fake HOA enforcement badges strapped over tactical vests. And in the middle of them, stepping out in a pastel blazer and oversized sunglasses, was Karen Hightower herself. "You think you can humiliate me?" she screeched, her voice carrying across the open field. "You think some mangy mutt and a washed-up cowboy can defy my authority?" I leveled my shotgun. Brutus stood at my side, muscles coiled, eyes locked on the intruders like a lion scenting prey. "You've trespassed for the last time, Karen. Step off my land now or you won't walk off." Karen sneered. She flicked her hand like a general commanding soldiers. "Take him down." The first man raised his baton and rushed forward. He didn't make 3 steps before Brutus slammed into him like a freight train, jaws snapping onto the vest strap. The man screamed as he was dragged through the dirt like a rag doll. The second hesitated, but only for a second. Then chaos erupted. Brutus lunged left, teeth flashing white in the fading light. One man's arm snapped under the force of his bite. Another swung a baton, only to be knocked flat when 90 kilos of muscle plowed into his chest. I fired a warning shot into the air. The blast echoed off the hills, scattering crows from the trees. "Back off!" I roared. Karen only screeched louder, waving her arms like a mad woman. "Don't stop! Bring him down! Kill that dog if you have to!" That was the last straw. Brutus, blood and dust standing his coat, wheeled toward Karen herself. The fake cops faltered, terrified as the massive pit bull thundered across the field straight toward their leader. Karen shrieked and stumbled backward. Her designer heels snapped in the dirt. She fell hard, scrambling on her hands, shrieking for someone to help her. No one moved. Brutus stopped inches from her, teeth bared, growls shaking the ground. I strolled forward, shotgun steady. My voice cut the silence like a blade. "This ends now." Karen froze. Her soldiers shifted uneasily, some clutching broken arms, others backing toward the SUVs. The fight had drained out of them. That's when red and blue lights flashed across the horizon. Sheriff Daniels again, this time with 4 cruisers, sirens screaming. The fake cops dropped their weapons instantly. Karen, however, couldn't stop running her mouth. "You can't do this! I own this land! I'll sue you! Daniels cut her off, slapping cuffs on her wrists. "Karen Hightower, you are under arrest for criminal trespass, conspiracy, and attempted assault." The look on her face as Brutus sat proudly beside me, tongue lolling, chest heaving, was worth every sleepless night she caused. The SUVs were impounded, the fake badges collected as evidence. Karen's enforcers turned out to be hired security dropouts, paid in cash and lies. Karen herself was paraded into the county jail in handcuffs, still screaming about property values and aesthetics. And Brutus? He got steak for dinner, a hero's feast. As I watched him stretch out by the fire that night, scars fresh on his hide but tail wagging strong, I realized something. You can fight paperwork, you can fight lawyers, you can even fight guns, but no one in their right mind picks a fight with a 90-kilo pit bull defending his family. Karen thought a fake badge could break me. Turns out the only thing that broke that night was her empire and a few bones of her goons, courtesy of Brutus.